You know what, though? I just came up with an idea.
Uh-huh.
You could become Poober, a paid Uber. and you could say, okay, Logan, I'll tell you what, here's middle ground.
I'll be your Poober, but I'll never be your Fruber.
This case should never have come to trial.
I don't think it's fair to call my clients frauds. Because one time I turned into a dog and they helped me. Thank you.
Your Honor, we would like to withdraw our plea of not guilty and enter a plea of guilty.
This trial is a travesty. It's a travesty of a mockery, of a sham, of a mockery, of a travesty, of two mockeries, of a sham.
If we are to have faith in justice, we need only to believe in ourselves.
And the truth shall set you free!
How do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Oh, guilty, but with a real good excuse.
I think the truth will come forth.
You can't handle the truth!
Hi, everybody. It's time for more Law Lite.
It sure is.
Brought to you by Foreman Watson Holtry, FWHlegal.com. It is a beautiful day outside. We are situated at the two-story white brick edifice at 530 Frederick Street, Owensboro, Kentucky. And we are in the library, studio, conference room, multi-purpose room, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. We have our microphones hooked up. I do not have my headphones on.
You don't.
I was going old school today. Let's try put these on. Let's see here.
Turn them on. There you go.
Oh, boy. Now. No. How are you?
I'm good. It felt like fall this morning.
It felt good.
Oh, man, it felt so good.
I got up to work out, and I walked out to my truck. I was like, I think I'm going to go in and get a little jacket. So I went inside and got a little lightweight sweat jacket and put it on that way, you know. Just kind of start to get in the – but it's hot right now.
Yeah, it started warming up a little bit.
Yeah.
But this morning it was, yeah.
For our listeners out there, here's what's going on. I've been waiting to do the podcast today for nearly an hour. I had it on my calendar that we would start around 3:30. Normally PJ comes down and says, okay, I'm ready. I'm set up. So finally I'm like, okay, I guess he's forgotten about me. So I had to walk down, knock on the door. He keeps his door closed.
I got used to having the door closed because John was in there all the time, and now I'm
John's not in there anymore.
No, is he? So are we not sharing an office anymore?
Well, he's kind of got messes all over the.
I notice he's normally in the foxhole.
Yeah, that's where he's hanging out these days. All right. Anyway, we're here because I remembered, and the podcast will go on because of me.
When you opened the door and said something, I'm sure you saw my deer in headlights look. Yeah. I thought maybe you had sent me an email and I missed it.
No, there's no excuse. Yesterday we said 3:30 today.
Well, we said afternoon. It was never. I don't think it was
after
determined.
3. I said it'll be about after 3.
I don't remember that part.
Well, obviously you weren't listening to many details. But anyway, there will be Law Lite.
We're also a day early though.
Here we are. Okay, so here's the thing. I had several people that listened to the podcast ask me about the two things. Number one, if we can expect guest appearances by your son Logan on each podcast, because we've had two in a row. You know, we were driving one day. And he, and then another day. So he's had randomly, 2.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, as you know, I called him prior to this recording and said, I'm about to do the podcast. Don't call. And he said, okay. But he has asked me if he can come on the podcast as an actual guest.
Well, maybe we'll bring him on here to talk about his romance. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, and that was the other thing. I had some people like want to know how the first date went or how this date went. Now I know because I came down and made the mistake of asking.
Right.
Okay, so we're gonna summarize it real fast. Okay.
Okay.
A, you picked him up for to go to the game.
I did.
B, she was a nice girl.
Oh, she was super sweet.
Yes.
Yeah, I liked her a lot. Very polite, very kind, very nice.
Okay, good. And you dropped them off. As with kids, about an hour and a half, the game was boring and they wanted to go do something else.
Right.
Without thinking about how they were going to go about getting there, they just kind of decided they were going to go, and you got on the hook for taking them.
Well, and that's just it though. Not just them, which was fine. It's suddenly I was carting around not his friends, her friend, and her friend's boyfriend.
Right. So you became PJ Uber, but it was free.
Fruber.
So you become their Fruber, and you take them to a restaurant here in B-Dubs, right?
Yep.
And you drop them off, and you get just home and getting your feet up on the couch, right? And
Yeah.
Oh, they're ready to go.
It's time to go.
Else. Yeah,
already.
Else. Yeah. Okay, because you had better things to do on a Friday night.
But as it also turns out, their friends, which I was told had a vehicle, and the vehicle couldn't hold all of them, which is why I had to be Fruber. Turns out, I guess the vehicle was actually not at the game,
right?
And one of their moms came and picked them up from old B-Dubs.
It ends up being you, Logan, and the date. Mm-hmm. Then I guess you take her and drop her off at her dad's. Is that right?
Yeah, her dad's house.
There was some displeasure from Logan about the way you handled him not seeing her for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
Is that a good?
He wanted her to stay the night. I can say that much.
Yeah, right.
But to just hang out
and spend the night,
and hang out in the living room. On the couch
all night,
apparently.
And so for some reason you didn't think that was a good idea, and you put an end to that. And so when you
I've lived
right, and before Fruber,
I've hung out on couches, so I'm well aware of what happens.
You said on first date that's not happening.
Right
after you got her to her dad's, then Logan became just a wee bit disrespectful toward you.
Yeah. A wee bit's putting it
right
very nicely.
To which you had to have a come to Jesus.
Oh, very much.
Yeah. Has he come to Jesus? Has he?
Since then, he has apologized. The long and the short of it is I said that my kindness will no longer be taken advantage of or disrespected. And I said the easiest way to go about that is to just not do these things from the get-go, because then it doesn't give him the opportunity to be ungrateful. So I said I would never, ever, ever be Fruber ever again. And he was not a big fan of that. And then I made him clean his room at like 11 o'clock at night.
You know what, though? I just came up with an idea.
Uh-huh.
You could become Poober, a paid Uber. and you could say, okay, Logan, I'll tell you what, here's middle ground.
I'll be your Poober, but I'll never be your Fruber.
That's right. And you're going to charge him rates for driving him around town.
Oh, I'm already charging him for something.
I know, right.
Like
we already rent.
That comes with that come to Jesus.
That's really just delayed savings. I mean, you're not really,
right.
So that's good. So, you may want to consider the Poober idea.
Right.
Okay.
I'm not so much. I don't know if I should consider that or not.
Logan,
I will
let you pay me to take you and your date. Then you could also, say if you bring her home for each hour that she's here, you're paying me for her existence in the house.
I think they call that prostitution.
No, you're not getting anything out of it. It's like a hotel room. You have to pay by the hour, though, right?
Now I'm the Colonel House Motel.
Yeah. You are the landlord. You are the hotel. Yeah, the hotel no-tell.
That's right.
Right, and so Logan, if you want her to come hang out on the couch, pay me $20 an hour. And
oh man,
you're
talking about going off the rails.
It's time to be industrious with these kids.
I know.
It's time to take advantage. Look, that's the way to affect a kid is with their pocketbook, because they don't have their own limited income, right? So you hit them for some money, man. It opens their eyes. So, so anyway,
that's what happened. Now the date went great.
Yeah, I can tell you had a wonderful time.
Well, the date for him went fantastic. The date for me, not so. But here,
did you ask him if they kissed?
I did not. We didn't get that far. I was in such displeasure by the time I dropped her off.
Did he have his arm around her in the car?
No, but they were sitting on the curb, looking very downtrodden as I drove up. Now I can say I don't think she was anywhere near when the phone conversation I was having with him about not staying the night. I don't think she was right next to him.
Okay.
So it was probably when she came back and sat down. I think it's probably when he gave her the bad news and
that she wasn't.
Yeah. Now I'm not saying she was the one who wanted to stay the night. I'm pretty certain it was all his idea, and he probably spun it as my dad doesn't want you to come hang out, so he's just going to take you home.
He made you be the villain.
Right. Which tends to be but you know what? I don't care.
Right.
Because I didn't become a parent to be somebody's best friend because I have plenty of friends.
PJ, I think you got a lot to look forward to in these next few weeks and months with Logan and his dating and
well, when he brings
Fruber,
it up, I'm just going
and
to tell
all
him I'm
that.
busy.
Yeah. Unless you want to make a little money.
$20 is $20.
That's a great good joke. Talking about money, I've got two things to tell you about.
Okay.
Isn't it awesome to just like find money? Like if you're sitting, one time I was pumping gas and I looked down and there was a $10 bill. And it was just, I felt like I won $1,000, all right? Well, today I get a text message from my daughter, Lainey, and she said, hey, I don't know if you guys knew this, but you can go on to the Kentucky Department of Treasury's website, or the treasurer, Kentucky treasurer, and you can search to see if you have unclaimed property that the state is holding in the treasury. And she said, I did it, and Dad, I think you have some, and they don't report it unless it's over $100. And I was like, oh, really? Okay. So when I was eating lunch, I thought, well, I'll just jump on there and see what she's talking about. I do have money sitting in the Kentucky Treasury for more than $100. It's not much more because I found out what it was.
Right.
But it's $105, and the state's going to charge me $1 for processing my claim.
What is said property?
Well, here's what happened. I haven't seen the explanation of it yet. They're going to cut me a check, right? I don't know if you know this. Do you have the vision insurance through our office, or do you have it?
No.
Okay. The vision insurance offered through our office is Davis Vision. My daughter, Kate, a few years ago, she had ordered some contacts, and when she turned it in, Davis Vision said they weren't going to pay it. So I know what it was. She turned it in and paid for it without turning it in. So I took that receipt and I sent it to Davis Vision, but it was a convoluted process. Like I had to send them, get something confirmed. And so I don't even know if I did this right, So I sent it in, and I guess I totally forgot about it. It was back in 2015.
Oh, wow.
Apparently, they sent me a check, and it never reached me. And so it went unclaimed, and so when it pinged back that check had not cleared, rather than just not pay it back, pay me the debt that they owed me, they paid it to the Kentucky Treasury. My name is put on the list, and I can check and see. It was $105. So I barely made the threshold. The state won't do it for anything that's under 100. I've got this piece of paper. It's official. Like they sent me an email PDF. It's got a scan code on it and all that. And then I have to send in like my copy of my driver's license and social security card or copies of these things. Yeah. And they will cut me the check.
That's awesome.
And I made sure it wasn't some scam. I was like, before I knew for sure whether or not it was legit, I text her back. I said, okay, I'll go look, and anything I get, I'll split with you. So now I'm down to $52.50.
Hey, that's still too legit to quit.
I didn't say how I'd split it, so I could go 100 to me and 4 to her or something like that. But then I get pouty lips, and I'll probably cut her in a pretty good part. Speaking of cutting her in, I told you that I had a topic I wanted to talk about today.
You did.
And that is lottery winning. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question, PJ. Do you play any form of the lottery?
Closest thing I play to the lottery is, I guess, when I drive a car.
Fruber?
As to whether or not I'm going to make it to my destination in one piece. No, I don't play the lottery.
Okay.
The only time I've ever done, any time I ever do anything like that is my mom will put lottery tickets in people's stockings on Christmas. Yeah.
Right, that's a popular gift. So, but you don't go by scratch-offs.
No.
And you don't go like when you are driving down the bypass and you see a notification.
The Mega Millions.
Up to $3.9 million or $320 million or whatever. You don't get in on the excitement of going and buying a ticket.
I don't. I would love to do stuff like that. But I just don't.
I don't know. A while back, Missy decided to go buy us a ticket, but I've never played any of the power this, super that, mega that.
Same.
Never, ever. I wouldn't even know how to do that.
Well, don't you go in and you choose the numbers?
You can
randomly?
choose numbers, or they can hit a button and print you out a ticket with numbers on it. So you can tell them what numbers you want. You can fill that out. But anyway, I've never done that. I have bought scratch-offs before with the girls just for fun, scratch off a few, you know.
Right.
But I would say that I'm on average a scratch-off lottery maybe once every 2 years. I mean, that's how infrequently I play.
So your chances of ever winning are
about the same as yours.
low.
About the same as yours.
Right.
But I know a lot of people that play it regularly every week, like
clockwork.
Yep, they're going to do it. In college, I had a friend who I was up in my room. He was actually his dorm was right next to mine. He came up and he was slamming doors and he's cussing. I was like, Greg, what's wrong? He goes, my next door neighbor in Louisville won the lottery today. And I was like, well, what's the big deal? I mean, why are you so mad about that? He was like, do you know what the chances are of neighbors winning the lottery? He goes, now I'll never win it because my neighbor won it. He goes, not as if your odds, I mean, mathematically the odds are the same.
Right.
But the fact that his neighbor won it in his mind was there's no way I can win
he's
it.
jinxed.
Yeah, he's jinxed. So the reason I wanted to talk to you about lotteries is because they tend to show up in the court system.
Oh, I'm sure.
Over, we split a ticket, over whether or not, there's tax issues about them. People talk about, and if, they put something funny in a will, and if I ever win the lottery, I will donate so much to charity, and then sure enough, they hit the lottery and they forget to take that out of their will. And so,
oops.
So there's all kinds of litigation about it. But a headline, and it didn't have a lot of information, but a headline caught my eye this week. It was two individuals whose father had, and I can't now for the life of me remember. Did I tell you which state it was in?
I don't think you did tell me.
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't think it was California either. What had happened was a father who had two adult sons had won millions, took the cash option, and the cash option was millions and millions and millions.
Right.
Okay. And the guy, like after he settled, got out, paid the tax part of it and all this, the guy is going out and like living lavishly. He's buying up boats and condos in all these cities, and
he's doing it right.
But he has not given one dime to his kids. Okay, not that he has to.
Right.
Not that he has to. That's his preference. I understand.
Well, he probably took his kids on a date.
What do you mean?
Well, after that date that I took Logan on, if I won the lottery, he wouldn't see a dime of it either.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, because of being Fruber.
That's right.
He probably was Fruber one too many times. Okay, so here's what happens. The two sons finally have enough of it because one day they happen to be going past Pop's new crib, right? And they look up there and there's like 4 brand new exquisite automobiles. And 2 of them are like as a Hummer that's like fully decked out, and the other one is like one of the new Broncos or something. 2 4-wheel drives is what the article said.
It was O.J. Simpson.
These 2 sons that are bitter and butthurt about not getting any of dad's money, they take claw hammers and they break out every window of their dad's 2 4-wheel drives that are parked out in the driveway. It's 11 o'clock at night is what it said. Now here is the wrinkle that totally boggles my mind. They then get in their own car. Nobody saw them. Nobody heard them. Claw hammer to all the windows, break all the windows.
Right.
Now, you would think that if you had just gotten away with such a perpetration, that you would
mosey on home.
Not these 2 geniuses. These guys drive straight to the police department and they self-report. They turn themselves in for the crime. So then the issue becomes, who do they call for bail? Well, apparently it was a test. It was a test to see if their dad would bail them out.
Oh, jeez.
That he didn't, nor should he have.
Rightfully so.
I mean, I walk out and I see that oh my gosh, who did this? Oh, it's your sons. But oh, by the way, they're calling you from jail, and they want you to bail them out.
Yeah.
Really? I mean, I think there's other ways to get Pop's attention, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, this thing totally doesn't make sense.
Go to therapy. And then be convinced to have a heart-to-heart like every other person with trauma.
Right. Well, what about, maybe dad is like, I'm going to spend this stuff, and you know what? One of 2 ways, you boys are getting it anyway. If it's left over, you're going to get it. And all the stuff I've got, there's no liens on it, so you're going to get that too. And maybe he's just like, you're going to do like I did. You're going to wait until like you're my age to enjoy some of this stuff.
Right.
I don't know, and it's his personal business. But the whole wrinkle in this thing that caught me off guard was that these knuckleheads decide that, number one, the way to get Dad's attention is to break the windows out of his vehicles.
Right.
And then to turn themselves into the authorities and expect Dad to pay their bail. Does any of that make sense to you?
No, not only does it not make sense, but I have told my kids on more than one occasion that if they ever get in trouble for something and go to jail,
don't call you.
Don't call me. They will spend the night in jail. Even if they use their one phone call to call me, it is not my responsibility to bail you out because you did something moronic. And plus, if you get in trouble with the law and go to jail, that's where you should be. You should spend the night in jail. I'm not going to bail you out. And I guess to some degree, I could understand, like, if somebody close to you wins the lottery and they don't throw you anything, I could get being salty about it in the sense that, like, that one selfish part of you goes, oh, you know, I would do it, right? I would do it. Well, I was spoiled, so I'll speak for myself. I was spoiled, but I was raised to become spoiled, and that backfired. And then when I had to go out into the real world, I then had to learn very quickly how to turn that behavior around, so I'm not spoiled. So with my kids, I don't spoil them because I know when they get out into the real world, things are not just handed to you. It's like you got to figure this stuff out for yourself. The other way I would look at it if I won the lottery is I just spent 18 plus years supporting you financially on everything: education, food, housing, insurance, clothing. If I just won the lottery, that's me getting all that back plus some compensation for pain and suffering on top of that. So I'm not saying I wouldn't throw them something, but it wouldn't be enough to where, like, they're probably going to be happy with it.
Oh. Yeah.
That's my hard-earned money that won me my Mega Millions.
Yeah.
Go win your own Mega Millions. So there's me being selfish.
We read things about lotteries, and it, 8 or 9 years ago, I was in court, and during motion hour, there was a case, and I was like, what's that about? And 4 or 5 guys every week would go in on a lottery ticket, and one week a guy was on vacation, so the other 4 put in their money, and he didn't put it in that 1 week, but he had always put it in. It was like they chipped in for him. But when they won, they started doing the math, and dividing it by 4 was a whole lot better than dividing it by 5.
Right.
And so they cut the old boy out because he was on vacation when that ticket was bought, right?
Right.
And so, he was claiming, no, I'm got a part of that ticket.
Why did they tell him that they were going to chip in for him?
Well, they just did. They bought a $5 ticket, I think is the way it was, or whatever.
Right.
It was. Well, then maybe they paid 20 and each one of them paid. It may have been 4 guys. I can't remember now, but I remember one guy was on vacation and they bought the ticket for the same amount they always buy it. You understand what I'm saying? Or
right.
Bought the same amount of tickets or the same amount of plays. I guess maybe you can buy 20. I don't know how it works.
Right.
But I know that they bought the same amount they would have as if he was there.
Yeah.
So they made up the difference. And he's saying, see, and I would have given, when I got back, given him my $5 or whatever.
I mean, to be fair, if they were like, look, we're going to go all in on this. When you get back, you just pay us that money. And he says, okay.
Right.
And they have an agreement that he's part of it. In that case, then they need to cut him in.
I don't know the details of it. I just remember
if it's anything but
that,
that, sorry, you were on vacation.
All these lawyers were arguing, and I was like, what is that about? And somebody was trying to explain, it's a lottery division case,
Right.
And there's been some charities that have gotten screwed on lottery.
Are those cases hard to litigate?
Well, I mean, you just have to show, like you said, you immediately went to the issues of, well, if they had an agreement in writing, or even a text message, hey, we're going to pay for your part, you're in, that kind of thing.
Right.
Hard to back out, it's just an oral contract, and oral contracts in a lot of cases are enforceable.
I'm sure the friendships are still strong.
Yeah. Right. Oh my gosh! Imagine how sick that guy is. I mean,
he probably murdered them all.
Won or lost. Yeah, right. Yeah, and
he's like, if I can't spend any of it, neither can you.
Right. There needs to be a good movie about that. I'm sure there is, about lottery winnings and
the Slaughottery.
Oh, there you go. That's right
my
there.
next
Fruber,
movie.
The Slaughottery.
The Slaughottery.
That's a great idea.
Slaughtory. Yeah.
All right. Hey, it's near quitting time. I think it's a great idea. Just like Fruber is a good idea, and not maybe better than Poober. And it's been that.
Sounds like you might have a toilet in your back seat while you're for the ride.
It's been that kind of day around here. But this has been Law Light, and you never know what you're going to get some days. For those of you that play the lottery, good luck. We don't. We'll be jealous when you hit. If any of our listeners hit the lottery this week, we talked it into action.
Yeah. If anybody out there wants to put in for us, we will pay you back.
Yeah, we will pay you back.
We will pay you back.
Exactly right.
If you win.
Yeah.
There's an asterisk in there.
We appreciate all of our listeners. If you ever need good counsel, attorneys, any advice on legal matters, find us at fwhlegal.com. All platforms of social media. Until next time, God bless.
This case should never have come to trial.
I don't think it's fair to call my clients frauds. Because one time I turned into a dog and they helped me. Thank you.
Your Honor, we would like to withdraw our plea of not guilty and enter a plea of guilty.
This trial is a travesty. It's a travesty of a mockery of a sham, of a mockery of a travesty of two mockeries of a sham.
If we are to have faith in justice, we need only to believe in ourselves.
And the truth shall set you free.
How do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Oh, guilty, but with a real good excuse.
I think the truth will come forth.
You can't handle the truth.